Greetings and bienvenue, midnight crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
B10. In a woods with Boy Scout troop. Backpacking along a trail near the base of Mount Bachelor. Gonna camp near a lake and do Boy Scout stuff, fuck yeah. Me and my best friend Jay are super hyper and excited to put up our tent. My dad bought it for us. It's a special one that's made for 2 people. Has a cool skylight, so we can see the stars. Scoutmaster keeps having to tell us to shut up and pay attention. Get to camp. Scoutmaster tells everyone to set up around the site. It's one of those ones that's definitely a campsite but does not have buildings or showers. Forest is behind us, camp is sort of just inside the treeline. In front is a stretch of meadow and then a big pond. To the sides are more forest. In the middle of camp there are big logs set up in a circle and a fire pit in the center. Jay and I decide we don't want to camp near the other boys, so we pick a spot way out on the edge of camp away from the trees and closer to the pond. Scoutmasters don't want to let us, but they're too busy with the others that they decide fuck it and let us set up. It's me, Jay, and about 10 other boys, by the way. 3 Scoutmasters, all pretty cool. One is an older guy, the other 2 are probably in their 30s. Anyway, we all get set up and the Scoutmasters tell us we're gonna go swim in the lake. Oh hell yes. JPG. Jay and I engage hyperspeed and fly into our suits and are in the water before the Scoutmasters even have a chance to say anything about it. Splashing and fucking around. Water is nice and warm because it's summer and the pond is small. Everyone else gets in. We start a game of Marco Polo. Guy who's it is about 10 feet from me. Get that weird hyperactive mania paranoia, and the closer he gets the more I am flailing around and splashing to get away. Dude is about to touch me, so I sink to try and touch the bottom to kick off. Something stabs into the bottom of my foot. Jesus, it hurts. Fly up out of the water screaming. Everyone knows something is up, so they help me get out of the water fast. Old Scoutmaster looks at my foot. Looks like a stick or something punctured it really cleanly. Not that deep, but it's bleeding pretty bad. Scoutmasters take me back to camp and try to figure out what to do. It's too late in the day to pack out. It was basically sunset. Try to decide if they need to send me and the old Scoutmaster down alone. Luckily the bleeding is slowing down and we can see it's not as bad as we thought. They ask me if I want to leave. Fuck no. JPG. Already it's not hurting as much and I just wanna get back in the water. Scoutmaster bandages it up after cleaning it but says I can't get back in the water because amoebas. Have to sit and watch everyone fuck around. Eventually they all get out and we split into groups of 2 and get stuff to make a fire. Sun is almost down. Scoutmasters make dinner for us. When it's dark, one of the Scoutmasters gets out stuff for s'mores. Jay and I are fucking stoked. We offer to pass the stuff out to make it all go faster. Give everybody enough to make 3 s'mores each. Get to last guy. There's not enough. Ask Scoutmasters for more. They say there isn't any. We tell them there's not enough and show them that we all got 3 each except the last guy. Scoutmasters are super pissed. Start asking which of us is stealing more. None of us are. They decide they must have just miscalculated and they each give one of theirs to the last kid. Everything's cool now. Scoutmasters just kinda laugh it off. Tell each other ghost stories until everyone is scared shitless. Right then counselors douse the fire and tell us it's time for bed. Oh my god, fuck you. X. Get into our tents. Jay and I don't wanna admit it, but we're both really regretting setting up so far from everyone else. Way too late to move camp. We decide to leave his lantern on outside facing toward the trees. Both of us lay awake and look up through the skylight.
Hey.
What?
I have a story.
A ghost story?
Yeah. I didn't tell it because it's too scary.
Immediately call bullshit. He starts telling me this story. When he was little, his granddad told him about how something lived out in the high desert and mountains. He called it the Wendigo, but as far as I know he wasn't an Indian or anything. He told Jay that it was a monster made of flesh that could look like anything it wanted and that nothing could make it stop being hungry. Nothing could make it full or happy. He said it was all that was left of someone from a long time ago who did something very bad. Told Jay that if he ever felt the thing near him or if stuff didn't seem right, that he needed to listen to his instinct and get out of there. Jay asked how he knew about it, and his granddad told him he'd met it once. He'd gotten lost and was starving to death because the berries were all inedible and he couldn't catch anything else. He said he collapsed and watched as something impossible came out from behind a large boulder. It was like something was wearing his image. It looked like him, but it was not him, and he felt that acutely. He watched it walk up to him slowly and kneel down in front of his face. Granddad was scared shitless and didn't know if he was dying or dead or if this was hell or what. The thing that looks like him sounds exactly like him, and it says that if he doesn't make a deal with somebody soon, he's gonna die. Granddad starts praying loudly, but the thing just waves it off. The thing tells him that he's starving, and it goes into detail about what that means. How his fat is melting away, how his muscles are being sucked dry and are turning to mush. How even now the calcium from his bones is being stripped like a coal mine for anything valuable. It tells Granddad that it will only get worse, and that if he doesn't do something quick the pain is going to continue until he dies. Tells Granddad that he absolutely needs to eat something. Keeps saying that, "You need to eat. You need to eat." Granddad screams that there's nothing, and the thing that looks like him just laughs. Of course there is. It says, and it points at his legs. Granddad is absolutely flipping shit now. Tries to pull out his rifle and shoot the thing. He's too weak, and the thing seems really upset. It's frowning, and it looks like the skin it's wearing is loosening. Granddad says it looked like a loose dress. Suddenly the skin sloughs off in this awful paper-tearing noise and falls to the ground, where it turns into dirt. What's left is this shapeless dry thing made of ancient flesh and bloody dirt. Embedded in its gut is a disgusting ancient deer skull. It's held in there by bloody, wet dirt. Blood is fresh. Arms are gangly and end in 3 long fingers. The head is almost cylindrical, like a can. It is clearly not a human head. It has 2 very small black eyes in the center of the face. It looks down at him. From somewhere in the thing a horrible high-pitched noise rings out. Granddad said it sounded like an insect. The thing crumbles into a cloud of dirt and bone fragments and is gone. Running on pure adrenaline, Grandpa picks himself up and sprints at least a mile or 2 until, by sheer luck, he stumbles upon a hunting camp. Survives but refuses to go in the woods again. Says the thing is still looking for him and that it'll come for Jay too, so he needs to be careful. Jay finishes with that and we're both quiet for a minute. Don't want to admit it, but I'm freaked the fuck out. Tell him that's the most bullshit story I've ever heard. He knows I'm lying and asks me if I think it's weird about the s'mores. I tell him to knock it off and let me sleep. In reality, I'm shitting in my sleeping bag and too afraid to talk or move anymore. Jay somehow falls asleep after a while. I can hear him snoring. Eventually get myself to calm down enough to pass out. Have really weird dreams. Keep waking up not sure if I'm actually awake. Seems like the night has been going on forever. Jay is snoring and that keeps messing with my dreams. At one point I have a dream that there's something out in the pond and it's making this really weird heavy breathing noise. Like it's having to rip each breath inside of it. My eyes fly open and I can still hear the sound. Looking up at the skylight. It's so dark I can't even see the sky. I can move, but I'm absolutely petrified. Frozen in place, eyes wide open. Jay is snoring, but there's something underneath it. It's that same fucking breathing. That's when I realized it. The lantern is off. I should be able to see the stars. The fabric of the tent rustles. Something is looking down into the tent. I can barely make it out, but it's huge. It covers the entire skylight with just its head. I move slightly and something catches just enough light from the moon to spark in its tiny beady black eyes. It's looking at me. It doesn't have a face. It feels like my heart is frozen in place. I have no idea if I'm awake or dreaming. I'm shaking and slowly inching my hand toward the edge of my sleeping bag. The thing and me are locked in this stare down for at least 15 seconds. Finally get my hand around the bag and yank it over my head. Curl into a ball at the foot of the bag. Realize I've pissed myself. Don't even care. I can't hear the thing rustling around outside the tent. It's making this kind of rubbing noise. Can only describe it as insect legs rubbing together. It brushes the tent near where I'm curled. Try to scream, but it won't come out. Thing fiddles with the zipper for a second. My heart can't take much more. I feel like I'm going to pass out. The thing moves on. It's quiet. I passed out from sheer exhaustion. Wake up the next morning groggy and stiff. Remember last night and it all feels like a dream. Still really freaked out, but I'm not gonna tell Jay about it. It was probably just a really bad dream. Scout masters make us breakfast. Jay is in a good mood and cheers me up pretty quick. Forget about everything and have an awesome day in the woods earning badges. Jay is in a really good mood, makes me laugh like a motherfucker. We keep sneaking off to fuck around by ourselves. Scout masters just kinda let us do our thing as long as we stay close. Night comes around and we have another campfire. This time we just roast marshmallows since we're out of s'mores stuff. Telling stories and Jay says he'll be right back, he has to pee. Scout masters tell him not to go farther than the tree line. He walks a ways past camp toward the pond and I lose sight of him in the dark. He comes back a minute or two later and sits down. Scoutmaster is telling a really good ghost story, so I don't really pay attention to what he's doing. Hear him crunching on something and look over. He's eating a s'more. What.jpg? You jerk, you're the one that stole? I said. He doesn't say anything, he just keeps eating. What the hell? I ask him again, he still doesn't say anything. One of the young scoutmasters notices and gives Jay a really angry look. Gets up and comes over.
You need to give me that right now.
He says to Jay. Jay doesn't even look at him, he just makes this kind of crying noise. What the hell is going on? Jay is acting completely weird. I'm getting a bad feeling in my stomach. The scoutmaster tells him to get up and he takes his shoulder. Hear something crunch. Sounds like a dead leaf. Scoutmaster yanks his hand back. There's a fucking dent in Jay's shoulder. Jay stops eating his s'more and looks at me. It looks like something wearing Jay's skin and it doesn't fit quite right. His eyes are saggy and his mouth is too low. Suddenly, impossibly, Jay's voice comes from behind the group, which is now quietly watching the scoutmaster and Jay.
Sorry. I was coming right back, but something knocked me into the pond. I don't know what it was, but it.
Jay jogs back into the circle and sees something is really wrong. Looks at the thing wearing his skin. He goes completely white. The thing looks back at him and the skin kind of bunches up in the center of the face. Jay stands up and drops the s'more, staring down the real Jay. Jay walks back toward the pond slowly, keeping its eyes on Jay no matter how far away it gets. Its head turns to keep Jay in view. The skin on its face is doing something, but it's too dark to see what, exactly. It gets to the water with its head basically turned totally backwards. Old Scoutmaster turns his huge flashlight on it without saying anything. All of us are dead quiet and shitting ourselves. No one moves. Jay's face pulls tight, so tight that the eyelids turn inside out. Skin rips and crumbles into dirt. The thing wiggles free like a caterpillar from a cocoon. It's ancient and withered and bony in the wrong places. Looking at it hurts my brain, nothing about it makes sense. The lumpy, tube-like head tilts sideways and then rotates back to the front as it turns to face us again. There's a fucking deer skull embedded in its stomach. Even from here I can smell the thing. It's both dry and dusty and also festering and damp and sour, like the mud from the bottom of a deep river. The thing lets out an ear-splitting screech. Everyone shuts their eyes and claps their hands over their ears. Manage to open one eye enough to see it slip back into the water. The sound cuts off as it goes under. All of us sit there, stunned. No one says anything. Then, basically as one, we all get up and sprint to our tents. Scout masters holler at us to stay inside until morning and not to come out for any reason. Jay and I cram ourselves into one bag. He's shaking badly and he keeps saying,
That was it. That was it. It came back. He said it would. It came back.
Tell him to shut up and be quiet. All night we can hear something swimming quietly in the water. The next morning we all throw our shit together and get the fuck out. Jay and I stopped talking to each other. Didn't really mean to. He just withdrew to the point that I couldn't reach him. Haven't spoken to him or anyone else from that trip since. And that, Anons, is the scariest thing that has ever happened to me. A lot of us didn't want to talk about it, I guess. Especially the scout masters. On the way back, they basically told us that we couldn't really be sure what had happened because it was too dark. They tried to play it off as a prank, I guess. I dropped out of Boy Scouts because I was really only in it for Jay plus the experience, kind of ruined things for me.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.